Morozova.
Lena, my dear, can you tell me what the fuck happened with this whole humanitarian convoy operation, huh? I've just had a call from above, and they're not happy at all.
They opened fire on our troops, which was part of the mission's contingencies, and the mission was validated. We pushed them in a corner and forced them to show their true colors. Now the world cannot ignore the truth that they are the aggressors.
Lena, when will you learn? The world doesn't care about the truth. The truth is whatever the victor decides to tell when the war is over. So if I were you, I would make sure we are victorious, so you can tell your version of the story.
So, are we at war?
Not officially, of course. Declaring war is a thing of the past, yes? But this act of war cannot remain unanswered. We would lose face. Contingency Plan 57 has been approved and is now in immediate effect. You know what to do. I hope I can count on you.
Yes, of course.
One last thing. I've seen the request for your team. Take battalion and the commander, whatever his name is. They make sense and the records are impeccable. But are you sure about Demidov? He's a goner.
Don't worry, I have my reasons. I am sure he will be up to the task.
Still good at motivating men, I see. But don't fuck this up, Lena. I won't be here to save your nice little ass if you do.
Mind your own ass, Mudak. The Ignalina nuclear power plant, located right next to the frontier, is a very vulnerable strategic asset. It supplies about 70% of the Baltic states' electricity, so shutting it down would strongly impact their resistance. TV and radio, cell phones, street cameras, everything would stop working. The power plant is surrounded by a very swampy area, which makes ground operations difficult to accomplish. But this is not a problem for us. We have VDV units that can be transported by helicopter. Shutting down a power plant is a matter of minutes, while turning it back on takes weeks. So this is gonna be a hit-and-run operation. We secure the perimeter, drop a team of assault engineers, they shut down the power plant, and everyone goes home before sunrise. Captain Battalion, thank you for making yourself available at such short notice. This is much appreciated.
My pleasure, Agent Morozova. When the duty calls, I'm always the first to answer.
Almost. Commander, please meet Captain Battalion, who will support you during this operation. He's one of our most brilliant young officers.
But I thought you said I would be in command. I'm perfectly capable of handling this whole operation on my own.
There is no doubt about your abilities, Captain. But this is no longer an exercise, and one of you could be injured. So we must ensure there is redundancy in the chain of command. Now let's get to work, shall we? The assault group tasked with securing the perimeter of the power plant will be brought first and escorted by attack helicopters. The enemy resistance in the vicinity should be limited to the local reserve units. They have neither the equipment nor the training to face our airborne forces. Once the perimeter is secured, we send a second wave of helicopters carrying the engineers and additional reinforcements. The activation of the emergency shutdown of the power plant should not take long. Once this is done, we'll send the helicopter back to pick you up. The engineers will be evacuated first, followed by your airborne troops. Hopefully, you should be back before the enemy even has time to realize what's going on. power plant is straight ahead. Begin the attack. Suppress all the enemy resistance and secure the landing zone.
Here we go. Try to keep up with me, Commander, because I won't wait for you. Давай! Controls around the power plant eliminated. Keep up the good work. Railway station clear. Nice fireworks. Logistics center clear for landing. Resistance crushed. Battalion for HQ. All the landing zones are secured.
Good job, you two. Continue to patrol the area and keep the landing zone safe. I'm sending in the transport helicopters.
Our troops are taking over the railway station.
The first wave has successfully landed. Our Spetsnaz have stormed the power plant. Not much resistance encountered, but some workers have locked themselves behind the blast doors of the main control room. I'm sending the attack helicopters back to base immediately to escort the second wave containing the assault engineers. Defend the perimeter with what you have in the meantime. Don't let anybody reach the power plant.
You heard her, guys. Defend the perimeter and hold until the second wave arrives. I hope I can count on you to help with the defense, Commander. Enemy convoy destroyed. We took prisoners, the reservists from the local garrison, which has been put on alert. The attack on the left flank has been repelled. Well done, guys. Keep it up. Commander, my guys report that they've observed enemy activity around us. They seem to be regrouping and preparing fire support positions. Their next assault will certainly be better prepared than their previous attempts, and we might not be facing simple conscripts anymore. Armored vehicles approaching the right flank. Fire at will. Don't let them pass. Mechanized assault on the right flank destroyed. The rest of the infantry is falling back. Attention! Enemy armored vehicles are storming the left flank. Battalion for HQ. Our losses are mounting fast. We won't hold on much longer.
The helicopters have finished rearming and refueling, and the engineers are on board. They will soon be on their way. Commander, the second wave transporting the assault engineers has arrived. Transport helicopters are also available to call reinforcements and bring supplies.
Enemy's attack on the left flank repelled.
We've reached the blast doors of the control room. 20 centimeters of tempered steel and reinforced concrete. That's serious business.
How long will it take? We have a full mechanized brigade coming our way, and we won't be able to hold them off for long.
We're in the same boat here. We're on it, and we can't work faster, so we'll let you know when it's done, okay?
This might take a while. Keep the enemy as far away from the nuclear power plant as possible until they can access the control room and shut down both reactors. HQ to all ground units. The next wave is approaching the landing zone. Confirm visual.
What the hell? They're flying towards the enemy! Break right! Break right!
Shit, there's traces everywhere! Look! Stiggers too! Fires! Fires! They're collecting fire in the right! I'll cover!
Sons of bitches, they shot down the helicopter!
The last wave of paratroopers was dropped near the power plant. The helicopters are returning to base for repairs and will come back to support you as soon as possible. Good luck. A column of Latvian armored vehicles has crossed the border and is moving in your direction. They should arrive on your right flank shortly.
It's our lucky day, apparently. Look, Lithuania? Latvia? The only one missing is Estonia for a Baltic royal flush. Here comes the promised column of Latvians. Огонь! Oh shit, they brought mortars with them. Attention, enemy choppers. Grab a tube and shoot that bastard down. Fuck, I think they brought in some special forces. Don't let them land. One Blackout down. Good job, guys. I think we pushed the Latvians back. Well, that wasn't easy. It's too early to relax. We need to prepare for the next attack. Блять. Is it the Lithuanian-Latvian military cooperation day or what? It looks like we're taking on both their entire armies in one fell swoop. What's the situation in the power plant? How much longer we're gonna have to hold these damn positions?
We've just breached into the control room and cleared it. It's only a matter of minutes now to trigger the automatic shutdown.
Great news. We'll fire up the engines of the helicopter for the evacuation. Tell me when the shutdown is in effect, and I'll send them.
Artillery! Take cover!
So that's what they were preparing. Fall back in the direction of the power plant. I'm sure they won't risk using heavy artillery near it.
Their attack is also losing momentum on the left flank. That was close. Damn mortars. Engineers, have you heard? We need to evacuate now. Are you not done yet?
Not yet. The automatic shutdown failed. This damn equipment is rotten to the core. The control rods are stuck halfway through and refuse to go down.
What? Are you joking me? If you don't shut down the reactors in time, I swear, we will leave you here.
Listen, it's not my fault this place hasn't seen any maintenance since the days of Brezhnev. Give us another 5 minutes, and we'll go to the reactor room to make the rods go down the hard way.
What do you mean the hard way? Blowing this place up with us nearby is not part of the plan. Don't do anything stupid.
Well, we'll find out if the first hits of my circle are so on these damn control rods. Engineers out. Job done. We've shut down both reactors. We're moving to evac zone. Provide cover now.
What's this? Good news from you? Shit, I can't believe my ears. Get ready to evacuate. We'll cover you.
The engineers have been successfully evacuated. Battalion, prepare your troops. You go with the next wave. Commander, continue to defend the perimeter. You and your men will evacuate last. Your turn, Commander. Bring all your remaining units to the evacuation zone. Attack helicopters will protect your retreat. The last transport helicopters were ready. The zone is hot, so you will only have 1 minute to mount up.
All the infantry is here. Get in the choppers and let's head back to base.
Hello?
Доброе утро, Colonel Demidov. This is Agent Lena Morozova from SVR.
Huh? Secret Service? Okay, what is it about?
Duty calls, Colonel. Mother Russia once again requires your services. We're launching a series of military operations in the Baltic states in relation to the attack of our troops escorting supplies to Kaliningrad.
But I was supposed to retire in,
Are you retired yet, Colonel?
No, but,
Then this is understood. You will work under my supervision in a special mobile command unit. Pack up your things. A helicopter is already on its way to pick you up.
but where are you taking me?
Grab something warm. We're going to Narva. Colonel Demidov, finally you're here. Please meet Captain Batalin.
It's an honor, sir. I've read your memoirs at the Academy.
Ah, yes, I've read them too.
And did you have time to read the documents I left for you in the helicopter during the flight?
Well, yes, the general intention is clear, but there are plenty of elements that need reviewing, starting with a proper inventory of our forces.
That's why you're here, Colonel. Your expertise is highly valued, and I'm sure you will rapidly find solutions to all those details. You will also be assisted in your task by the commander, who will handle the direct command of our troops and who will, I'm sure, always make the most of every situation. Now let's get out into the fields and start this inventory. The city of Narva lies on the opposite bank of the Narva River, which marks the frontier with Estonia. We expect only limited resistance from reserve troops of the Estonian Defense League. And since the population is mostly Russian, there shouldn't be much civilian resistance. But first, we need to regroup our units. Who is in charge here?
Lieutenant Petrov, I'm in charge here.
Not anymore. Commander, take control of these troops.
You won't be taking command of much here. We got plenty of vehicles in storage, but no one to operate them.
Well, thanks, Lieutenant. We'll take it from here. Commander, I will contact the nearby base and have them send crews for those vehicles. In the meantime, I suggest you take a look around and determine which vehicles the crews should be assigned to first. The first truck carrying vehicles crews has arrived. Send these crews to the unnamed armored vehicles you want to recover. T-72s, old, reliable, and smoking heavily. Just like me. Good old BMP-1s, reliable as ever. Machines designed to fight in the middle of a nuclear apocalypse, doesn't fear a bit of rust and snow.
Battalion reporting. My troops are in position. I'm ready to attack. Just give the order.
Hold on, Battalion. The commander is still working on recovering armored vehicles.
Then hurry up, Commander. We must act quickly. Isn't that right, Colonel?
Better 82s. Those tin cans have less armor than a wheelbarrow, but they're fast and armed with a 30mm autocannon.
That should be enough to start the attack, Colonel. We don't have all day.
Absolutely not. We need at least twice as many vehicles, as well as support units, and...
That was not a question. We're working on a very precise timeline. Multiple operations like this are being launched simultaneously across all the Baltic states. If we don't attack now, we'll lose the element of surprise.
Withholding information from me won't get us anywhere. How am I supposed to make the right decisions if I don't have all the cards in hand?
Nobody has all the cards in hand, Colonel. Not me, not you. Especially not you. Otherwise, it would constitute a serious security risk for the entire operation.
All right. Commander, the bridge is right in front of us. This is a choke point, so we'd better cross it quickly and secure a bridgehead on the other side as fast as possible. The city might be mostly favorable to our presence. That doesn't mean the garrison shares the same opinion. You need to capture the border guards' headquarters as quickly as possible, and we might be able to take the city.
Free the city.
Free the city, without much bloodshed. sound it. We don't have much time. Head for the Estonian Defense League's headquarters before they can organize their defenses. Captain Battalion, advance on the left flank. Clear route at residential sector.
Так точно, товарищ Colonel. They won't understand what hit them.
The headquarters of the Estonian Defense League is ours. This should provide us with a short respite. The Estonians are regrouping and seem to be preparing a counterattack. Defend the perimeter of the fort. As long as we hold it, we keep control of the bridge. Looks like they've had enough. They're falling back and taking defensive positions in the buildings of the city center. Capture this crossroad, Commander. It controls the two main axes of the city. Nothing enters or leaves without us knowing if you control it.
Comrade Colonel, they're beginning to retreat on my flank as well. Their combat units are still holding the line, but I can see trucks trying to escape. They're heading your way, Commander. You should be able to intercept them at the main crossroad if you manage to hustle it a bit.
Perfect! You hold the central crossroad. This is the beginning of the ends for them.
All the trucks have been destroyed. Don't you think I should get some credit for that? After all, I'm the one who made them flee in your direction. Comrade Colonel, the enemy is in full retreat on my side. I'm right on their heels, but they will arrive in force from your left flank, Commander. Be ready to greet them.
Through. The remaining enemy forces are retreating from the town. This was a decisive victory today. I think it's time for everyone to rest and refit.
Negative, Colonel. Begin the pursuit immediately. Don't give them any respite. Our troops have progressed rapidly through Lithuania, giving us the opportunity for a pincer maneuver on Riga from the south.
They will never reach the city.
Oh, really? And why is that, Colonel?
I've read your plan. You're a good student, Agent Morozova. You have applied the manual to the letter and calculated the fuel requirement of this operation as instructed by the manual. But the manual is wrong, and only experienced officers know that. In practice, they will run out of fuel long before reaching the city.
Then I have a proposition, Lane. I mean Agent Morozova. Our troops will pass near Mashikai oil refinery. We could raid it and take fuel for our troops. What do you think?
I like your audacity, Battalion. You should take an example of him, Colonel.
The Mi-26 is the largest helicopter ever built, with a carrying capacity of 20 tons. They could carry troops and armored vehicles on the outward journey, and fuel on the return trip.
I love your plan. Let's put it into practice.
As I predicted, the first vehicles start to run out of fuel.
Battalion, order the column to stop immediately. Gather what little fuel we have left, on top of the helicopters.
But our vehicles will be sitting ducks if you do that.
Don't worry, Colonel. We'll be back in no time. Stay here and make sure everything's ready for our return. Commander, prepare a light assault force that can be transported by Mi-26. The oil refinery will certainly be defended.
It is located at the frontier between Lithuania and Latvia, and close enough from the sea to receive reinforcements from the USMC units, which have landed on the coast. You'd better hurry up, get what we need, and get the hell out of there, before they all come down on you.
Speaking of which, what kind of fuel do we need for our vehicles?
Anything. That's the magic of multi-fuel engines. You can pee in them after a binge, and they'll start right up.
Speaking from experience, I suppose. Very well then. We'll take everything we can find. Commander, your group arrived first. Begin the operation immediately. Battalion group will soon follow. Your primary task is to conduct a reconnaissance in force and secure this first fuel depot near the marshalling yard. We need these supplies, so watch your fire. Good job. The marshalling yard is under our control. Protect the fuel until the Mi-26 arrive. The Mi-26 helicopters are here. Grab the supplies and send them back to base. Excellent work. All the fuel has been loaded in the helicopters. Now send them back to base. We received the fuel and were able to fill the tanks of several helicopters. You can call them as reinforcement, Commander. But we need much more than that. Your next target is the oil refinery itself, which contains much more resources than this small depot.
Battalion here. Sorry I'm late, Commander. Unfortunately, my helicopters ran out of fuel before reaching the area of operation, and we had to continue on the ground. If you could help me out by sending fuel to the area indicated, I could provide you with additional reinforcements. So, the brilliant commander managed to spare a bit of his time and resources for the poor battalion. That's a surprise, I have to admit. We have refueled some helicopters for you. You can call them as reinforcements. The fuel depot is in our hands, but unfortunately it's not even half full. We'll have to venture further into the refinery to find more.
For the moment, grab everything you can here and send it back to base. And establish a defensive perimeter to secure the loading operations. Perfect. We have accumulated enough resources to resupply our troops heading towards Riga. Mission accomplished. Let's get out of here before the American Air Force falls upon us.
The fuel collected at the refinery enabled Battalion to reach Jelgava. It is the last city on our way before Riga. The situation there seems to be a complete mess. I wasn't able to reach anyone over the radio for the past 12 hours.
A recent drone reconnaissance is showing heavy artillery shelling and close quarter combat on the western bank, but there is no clear front line and it's hard to distinguish who is who. Colonel, take the commander with you. Re-establish cohesion between our troops and resume the assault. I want the city taken and the road to Riga opened without further delay.
Damn, it feels like Grozny all over again. Let's hope there is still someone to save this time. There is a small airfield near the city. We will establish a command post there. Battalion, you will defend the perimeter, while the commander conducts the first reconnaissance.
But sir, how come I'm the one that's always kept in reserve? How am I supposed to distinguish myself if I'm always given these ungrateful tasks?
You are young and impulsive, Battalion. Such temper can cost the life of many men.
But sir, I want to be like you, a war hero. There are books about you at the academy. Your man called you the man who didn't fear the bullets. I would like my name to impose respect too. I don't come from a rich family. I had to compete all my life with the sons of someone and work twice as hard to prove myself.
Forget this name. The man who didn't fear the bullets. You have no idea of the cost that comes with such a name.
So that is why I'm always a second choice to you. I thought you would be different, and that you would be able to see beyond names and origins.
I don't care about your name or who the fuck your mother and father are, Battalion. Now, go and prepare your troops for the task I've assigned you.
At your orders, sir.
What happens, Colonel? You seem upset. Has a ghost of the past come to haunt you?
Nothing you shouldn't already know, as I'm sure you've done a background check on me. Now, if you excuse me, I have another city to conquer, apparently. Commander, you're just in time. Half an hour ago, Battalion went on a reconnaissance mission, and we lost communication. I hope he's all right. Do some reconnaissance of your own. Find Battalion, and find out what's going on in this damn city.
Guys, there's a car approaching from the rear. Hold your fire! Commander, is that you? Be careful, don't go any further. The enemy controls all the vantage points. Those bastards won't let us raise our heads. I've organized a defensive position with the scattered troops I found at the outskirts of town. But the situation is dire. I can't re-establish contact with the rest of our troops. The HQ was hit hard by artillery yesterday, and we have lost all contact since then. The enemy is constantly sneaking up on us with snipers and anti-tank missiles. We're reduced to using mine-clearing vehicles as makeshift artillery to repel them.
Understood. Battalion, you have done enough. Go to the base and wait for further instructions. The commander will take over from here. I'm sending you transport helicopters with supplies. Use your trucks to dispatch them to our troops. Restore their cohesion and rally them under your command. Act quickly. We need to reconnect with our troops on the other side of the city as soon as possible. Supplies delivered. Good luck. Supplies delivered. The first mechanized platoon is now under your command. The second mechanized platoon has been resupplied and is now under your command. All units are patched up and ready to fight. First enemy position secured. All right, all clear. Now we can start regrouping with the rest of our guys scattered in the city. Establish defenses in front of the main breach to prevent any further enemy breakthrough, while you locate and rally as many units as possible. We need to put together a large strike for our offensive. The anti-aircraft platoon survived. Get them supplies. These guys are gonna be very useful against USMC choppers. The anti-aircraft platoon is back in formation and ready to carry out your orders. Commander, we've re-established contact with a tank platoon. They appear to be our last surviving tanks, and they are in poor condition. It will require quite a lot of supplies to bring them back into action. Commander, the tank platoon is ready to carry out your orders. Be careful with all those anti-tank missiles lurking around. You rallied enough units to start the offensive. I'm sure there are more you didn't find, but time is running out. Intelligence reports that USMC reinforcements are on their way from Riga. We can't wait any longer. Triangulation of enemy radio signals allowed us to determine the location of their headquarters somewhere around those high rises. Your mission is to cross the river and attack the enemy's headquarters. Battalion will attack parallel to you, across the bridge on your left flank. Su-24 bombers and Su-25 tank killers support is available.
Colonel, the resources have arrived. I'm launching the attack on the flank now.
Wait! The right flank is not yet ready to attack. They just regained combat readiness and are not yet in battle formation.
Too late, Colonel. They certainly spotted us already. Any delay would be fatal. Let's go, guys! To battle! Давай!
Battalion! Damn you! Okay, Sokol 1, Sokol 2, requesting airstrikes and these coordinates. Level those buildings other side of that bridge. The howitzers are reloaded and ready to support us with long-range fire. Here comes the enemy artillery. We need to destroy it rapidly before our losses mount up. Their approximate coordinates have been marked. You know what to do. One artillery battery destroyed. Keep up the good work, Commander. The enemy artillery has been silenced. Отлично! You're almost there, Commander. Not a step back. Capture the enemy headquarters. They're pulling back their last forces to defend it. Excellent. The enemy headquarters has been destroyed. The remnants of the enemy forces are retreating.
So, what's the situation, Colonel?
Narva is ours, and half the Estonian army is on the run. They are heading towards Tallinn, their capital city, where the rest of their forces are concentrated.
We need to take this city as quickly as possible to force the Estonian government to surrender and bring this conflict to an end as soon as we can. If we let their forces regroup, taking the city will prove a long and costful task.
Yes, actually, I have a plan. We have several Zubr hovercrafts stationed in St. Petersburg. They can transport heavy equipment, including tanks, and have the range and speed to reach Tallinn before the retreating troops. Our landing zone will be Muuga, a large industrial harbor situated about 10 kilometers east of Tallinn. There is a road from the harbor leading directly to Highway E20, where we can intercept the retreating troops. The lake and swamps surrounding this crossroad create a bottleneck we can exploit to our advantage.
Captain Battalion, I hope you're not prone to seasickness.
Of course not. I am trained to fight in every possible situation.
That's wonderful. The Colonel was thinking of doing without your services for this mission and going with the commander along.
What? Why?
I think he doubts about your abilities. But don't worry, I've convinced him to take you in. I hope you'll rise to the occasion and show them what you're capable of.
I will not disappoint. Thank you, Lena.
No familiarity in public, Battalion.
Sorry, Agent Morozova.
Dismissed.
The helicopter can't get any closer without risking detection. Drop the special forces in the water, and then they'll swim the rest of the way.
So, how cold is the water, huh? It's like jumping into an ice hole after a sauna. Perfect.
All right, boys, you know what to do. According to our intelligence, the garrison here is minimal, but I don't want to take any chances nor give the enemy time to react. So, the PDSS will eliminate the sentries and make sure the landing zone is clear.
Understood. Fast and clean without unnecessary noise.
Commander, be careful. The PDSS act in small teams, but they are tough guys, so don't underestimate the enemy.
No sentries, no patrols. They must be afraid of the cold. All the harbor guards must be sitting in one of their security posts.
Perfect. Find them, eliminate them, and send the signal once it's done.
Why all these precautions, Colonel? We could simply disembark tanks and BMPs on the shore and crush them.
Captain, maybe one day you'll find yourself in an ambush and barely escape with your life like I did. That day you will understand the value of prudence.
This story is not part of your memoirs.
No, it's not. The guard post is under our control. Great job, boys! The shoreline has been secured. We can send the first hovercrafts. Commander, your targets are these 4 key locations on the right flank. Captain Battalion, you will handle the positions on the left flank. The fleet allocated us several super hovercrafts, powerful machines from a glorious time. We only have a handful left, so use them wisely.
Comrade Colonel, is that all? Sounds like too easy a task for me. I bet I'll be done with my zones before the commander captures one of his.
This is not a competition, Battalion. This is a combat, блять, operation. Help me secure the perimeter if you're so afraid of being idle.
Yes, sir! I'll give a warm, high-explosive welcome to any enemy unit approaching the harbor.
Здравствуйте, Colonel. How is the operation going? Have you started the landing yet?
We're in the middle of it, so if you don't mind, I would like to focus on the task at hand. You'll get my full report after the operation.
Understood. I'll be watching for it.
Nothing has changed. We thought the burden of bureaucracy was a thing of the past, but the only thing that has changed is the color of the uniform.
Well, from my point of view, bureaucracy has never looked this good.
Battalion, you should think with your head and focus on your objectives.
Commander, this is my part of the harbor. Mind your own tasks.
So, where do you stand, Captain? The commander has already completed his assignments. I thought you were supposed to be the fastest.
But I encountered more resistance and helped secure the perimeter.
Nobody forced you, Captain. So don't be so pretentious next time, and don't bite off more than you can chew. With Muuga Harbor under our control, we can now set up a logistics hub and begin preparations for the next stage of the operation. Well done.
So, what's our next move?
We'll follow this road to where it meets Highway E20 by the lake. This crossroad is the perfect spot to set up an ambush. The enemy units retreating from Narva will arrive from the left and try to reach Tallinn on the other side. Excellent! Reinforcements are en route. While the commander sets up the ambush, you, battalion, will remain in the harbor and organize the defenses. The enemy may attempt to retake it.
With respect, Comrade Colonel, my men are fully prepared to engage. I request permission to support the ambush.
Captain, you ought to stay in reserve. Over-concentration of forces in a single area will hinder overall efficiency. All right, you're in position, Commander. The first enemy units arriving from Narva will be here soon. Our drone has spotted them on the highway. The first enemy group has walked into a trap, but that was just a small group of already beaten up units. It means they were not aware of our presence, but also that their best units must be fighting as a rear guard. Now they know we're here, and they won't fall for it twice. Fortify your defenses! Cover the flanks!
I'm ready to assist. The port defenses are already reinforced, and there's nothing happening on my end.
You're doing great, battalion.
Then why can't I join the battle? Everything's going according to plan so far.
So far, Captain. Stay in reserve. I'm sure your troops will be needed in due time. Bad news, Commander. Enemy units are advancing from Tallinn and approaching from the opposite direction on the highway. Commander, I pulled some strings to gain access to additional assets from the fleet. A pair of Kamov K-52K Katran helicopters is available as reinforcements.
Colonel, these helicopters were not supposed to be the part of your operation. Please refrain from appropriating equipment assigned to other missions.
I don't see any other operation happening around here. What are you talking about?
Just stick to the equipment that was assigned to you in the future, Colonel. Have I made myself clear?
Crystal clear, ma'am. Let's talk about that once the operation is complete.
There is nothing to discuss, Colonel. Over.
Our troops arriving from Narva made contact and should be there soon, which means that you're now fighting the elite rear guard of the enemy retreating troops. Battalion, it's time for you to step in. Send your troops to reinforce the intersection. We must hold the line.
Yes, sir, Comrade Colonel. I'm deploying my forces immediately. Commander, my men will be there soon. Let's see who kicks the most American asses. Finally, our troops from Narva are here. Now that's what I call call a multi-layered encirclement sandwich. Ha! The enemy group coming from Narva has surrendered. We didn't leave them much of a choice in this situation, did we? Now, let's focus on the enemy group arriving from Tallinn. Comrade Colonel, the enemy coming up from Tallinn is surrendering en masse. What's going on? They're not even trying to organize a defense. I don't understand.
I have no idea. Maybe it's a ruse. Stay on your guard.
Hey, check it out. Friendly forces are coming up behind them from Tallinn. How's that possible?
Greetings again, Colonel. As you can see, your little operation gave us just the diversion we needed to launch and landing directly in the harbor of Tallinn. The city was taken with almost no resistance, and the Estonian government has been captured. They've just signed the capitulation of their forces.
And I suppose notifying me about the existence of the second operation was too much to ask, Agent Morozova?
Secrecy is of utmost importance when conducting that kind of operation, Colonel. And I'm in a very good position to know that people talk. One way or another, they always do. Tallinn has fallen, and the Estonian army has surrendered. But they were not alone. US Marine units were helping them with heavy equipment.
The most likely location they could have come from is Pärnu. This is Estonia's last major coastal city, located at the head of a bay protected from the swell. A perfect place for sea landing operations. There's also an airport near the town, currently being renovated for conversion into a military base. We should send reconnaissance there to evaluate the situation. If we manage to capture the airport and position anti-ship missiles on the coast, we would be able to lock down the entire Gulf of Riga.
Sir, permission to be part of the first wave.
Yes, Battalion, you will get your share of glory, don't worry. Best case scenario, we encounter limited or no resistance at all, and we can land some planes to bring rapid reinforcements. Worst case scenario, the resistance is too strong, in which case you need to fall back and wait for our ground reinforcements to arrive.
Ah, glorious retreat. I see.
Stop acting so recklessly, Battalion! One day you will get yourself killed! I've lost enough men under my command to add your name to the list. Don't play hero today, and if things go bad, retreat immediately.
Of course, Colonel. At your orders.
The area seems mostly undefended, but USMC units could arrive at any moment. So, we must act without delay. Conduct a reconnaissance and secure the perimeter of the airfield with our Spetsnaz units. We will airlift additional reinforcements once it's done. Commander, you're in charge of the right side of the runway. Battalion will be on your left flank. Get to work, boys! Okay, the Spetsnaz are on the ground. Battalion, what's the situation on your side?
My group is on its way. Touchdown in 1 minute.
Roger that, Captain. Establish your perimeter, then sweep the forests near the swamps.
Resistance eliminated. Comrade Colonel, the airfield is ours.
Good job.
Creature 2, Creature 2, do you copy? The airfield is under our control. You're cleared to land. Creature 2 copies. Beginning the approach. We'll be there in less than 10 minutes.
Captain, Commander, you must hold the airfield until the arrival of the planes. Establish overwatch in nearby buildings and report any enemy activity. We must expect a counterattack coming from the city.
Situation report, Colonel. Have you taken control of the city already?
Not yet, ma'am. We're still waiting for our planes to arrive.
Don't waste any time. We need to deploy our anti-ship missiles on those beaches as quickly as possible to cut off Riga's supply lines.
We will progress as fast as possible. Don't worry, ma'am.
Thank you, Captain. Your motivation is a welcome relief, especially when all we get from others are delays and endless talk of impossibilities. Morozova out.
Твою мать, battalion! I'm the one giving the orders here, so you don't report to anyone else. Is that clear?
I'm sorry, Colonel. I thought...
Well, stop thinking then, and do as you're told. Attention, the planes are arriving. Clear the runway.
Now that's a landing. That's what I'm talking about. We'll take this little town in no time.
Don't claim victory just yet, Captain. Our airlifting capabilities are limited, so we could only bring a single tank platoon. If they're destroyed, there won't be any replacements. With the airfield secured, we can begin the attack of the city itself. The Estonians have fallen back. Don't give them time to recover and secure those bridges as soon as possible, Commander. Battalion, proceed along the left flank through the swamps, then cross the river upstream at the ford.
Draw the attention of the enemy with a frontal decoy assault. Then, strike with your main forces from an unexpected direction. Exactly like in your memoirs, Comrade Colonel. Which means I'll be the decisive instrument of your strategy. It's an honor, Comrade Colonel.
Stop quoting those stupid memoirs, Captain.
Oh, and what's wrong with them?
The name of the author, watching you in the fields. It's obvious you couldn't have written that.
It was a long time ago. Things were different back then. I was young and impulsive, Captain. I have matured. Now, let's get back to the operation at hand, shall we? Блять! We're too late. The US Marines are already here. Move it! Secure those bridges! We need to drive them back into the sea!
Have you still not finished subduing the city? The Iskander anti-ship missiles have arrived and must be deployed along the coastline to deny the US Navy access to the bay.
They can also be used against ground targets if needed. Commander, take control of the Iskanders and use them to accelerate your progression. We control the bridges. Excellent. Enemy tank! aggressive against them! Ambush them with RPGs! The USMC is bringing additional reinforcements ashore using LCAC hovercraft. Destroy them all or secure the beaches to prevent any further landings.
First hovercraft sent to the bottom. Funny how they deflate like balloons when you shoot at them, huh? And another hovercraft neutralized. All the ships have been sunk, Comrade Corbin. They'll have to swim their way into the fight now.
Great job, boys! Let's set up those Iskanders on the shoreline and turn our sights toward the Riga. The Latvian plan is clear now. They concentrated the majority of their defense around their capital city of Riga, where our supply lines would be stretched and force us into a long battle of attrition, while partisans raid our rear lines. The Iskander cruise missiles we have set up in Pernu are preventing the city from being resupplied by sea. But they can still be resupplied by air from the international airport, located right next to the city.
Then we will take this airport with our airborne troops. Our ground forces will exert maximum pressure on the defenses to fix as many enemy units as possible on the front line, while our paratroopers will jump onto the airport and prevent any new enemy aircraft from landing. Once they're cut from the last line of supplies, the Latvian defenses will not hold for long.
Airborne operations are always extremely risky. A single plane shut down, and it's 100 lost souls all at once. It would be much safer to wait for reinforcements and secure our supply line.
Are you a war hero, Colonel?
Am I? Yes, of course. I earned the distinction, but
What about you, Captain Battalion? Would you like to become one?
More than anything, ma'am.
This operation will require all your expertise combined, so you will all be part of the assault. That includes you, Colonel.
You want me to jump from a plane? At my age? What? Are you trying to kill me?
You will be airdropped directly in your command vehicle. This tactic has been experimented and will be necessary to be immediately combat ready after the drop. We will proceed in 3 waves. Commander, you will be the first, followed by Battalion, and finally you, Colonel. So as you can see, I'm taking good care of you. By the time you arrive, the zone should already be secured. You have your orders. Execution. Riga Airport is in sight. Begin the air sweep.
Lines report in.
Sokol 7 standing by. Sokol 3 standing by. Sokol 6 standing by. Sokol 9 standing by. Sokol 2 standing by. Sokol 11 standing by. Sokol 5 standing by.
Master Armor, attack formation. We're entering the radar bubble. Stay tight. Activate TCM jamming. Accelerate to attack speed. This is it, boys. Radar contacts dead ahead. Engaging. I'm hit. What's the news?
Enemy bear down! Keep up the good work! The enemy planes are retreating! The sky is ours for the moment, but this is just a respite. They will come back. The first window of opportunity for a drop is open. Send in the first wave of paratroopers, Commander. Drop everything you can while you can.
According to our intel, the airport itself is very lightly defended. The attack by our mechanized formations has drawn the defenders' attention elsewhere.
All right, you've got boots on the ground. reorganize your troops, and begin engaging the airport security forces. They're retreating! Now, establish a first defensive perimeter while waiting for the second wave of paratroopers. We've detected enemy groups moving in your direction to retake the airport. We can't send the next waves unless the drop zone is not secured. So keep these positions under your control and repel the enemy assaults until the second wave arrives. Excellent! The first attack has been repelled!
Our planes have returned for the second drop.
Battalion, you will defend the western side of the airstrip, while the commander expands our defensive perimeter to the rest of the airport.
Никто кроме нас! Давай! There will be medals for everyone after this mission!
Don't die for a medal today, Battalion. Stay focused!
What about your medals, Colonel? How many died for you to get them?
What do you want from me in the end, Agent Morozova? I earned my medals, serving my country.
Liar. Those memoirs you present as your own were written by my father, First Lieutenant Igor Morozov, who served under your command in Chechnya. He sent me a copy before you sent him to his death. And I recognize each and every one of his words in those memoirs you claim as yours.
Is that true, Colonel? All these stories, all your medals, just a big lie?
Things are not as simple as that. I'll explain myself, but we have more urgent matters. Enemy counterattacks are coming your way. They are falling back again. Let's hope it's for good this time. Send in the last wave of reinforcements.
Colonel, it's time. Time to jump and act like the hero you claim to be.
Circle line has been lit up! There's nothing on the radar! I'm alone here. Do you copy? I can't move. My leg's broken. And my vehicle's down.
I see the smoke of the crash, Comrade Colonel. I'm moving my forces to assist you. Hold on.
Leave him, Captain. Let him die like he left my father to die in Grozny. He's as good as dead anyway. Enemy troops are converging on his position.
That's a negative, Lena. I'm going in.
This impostor is not worth saving. He is not the hero you think he is.
Every man is worth saving. And that's what your father wrote in his memoirs. And I'll honor him with my actions. Commander, take command of my men and hold the airport until I come back. We're here, Comrade Colonel!
Battalion? I didn't think you would be the one to come. I guess I've always underestimated you.
be a liar and a disgrace. But since you're not the man who doesn't fear the bullets, ready to risk all for his comrades, then I'll be that man instead.
That man died a long time ago.
Your vehicle's up and running again. Fall back to the airfield. We'll cover you.
I'm safe now. Battalion, fall back to the airport. You've done enough. You've got nothing to prove anymore. Don't push your chances.
All right, on my way. Fuck! Our vehicle is hit. We're immobilized. They're arriving from every direction.
Battalion! Блять! Commander, we lost battalion. I'm coming back to the airport with a large formation of U.S. armored units on my heels. Shift your defense in this direction. Don't let them retake the airport. Our first ground forces are arriving to relieve you. Hold until they arrive. Abandon the two western defensive positions across the landing strip if needed to concentrate your defense on the terminal of the airport. Our fighters have regained the air superiority. You can call in new reinforcements and strike planes. Our ground forces have finally linked up with us. The surviving United States forces are surrendering, and Riga will soon follow. That was a costly but brilliant victory today, Commander. Riga will be soon fully under our control, and the United States Marines landing in Pernu has been prevented. We are doing great in the north.
But things are not going great in the south, Colonel. The Suwalki Gap is wide open and the Americans are bringing more and more reinforcements from overseas. We need to relocate our troops to the south as soon as possible.
There is one last task at hand before we can do that. The USMC rear base in Estonia was not located in Pernu, leaving only one option, Saare. This is the last naval air base in the region. Once we control it, the Gulf of Riga will definitely be ours.
You are too slow, Colonel. And you too, Commander. You had all the cards in hand to make this Estonian campaign a lightning victory. Instead of what? You have progressed like slugs, being overly careful when momentum was the key. And while you took your sweet time, we were losing Lithuania.
Watch your mouth, girl! You filled Battalion's head with your ideas of glorious battles and lightning victory. See where that led him! I am a decorated officer of the Russian army, and the Soviet army before that. War has been my entire life, so from now on, we will do things as I say, and you will sit and watch. Your father was not a goddamn hero. He died like a fool because he swallowed the same pathetic, heroic crap you've been feeding Battalion all this time.
You will pay for those words dearly. I swear it, Colonel Demidov.
Well, go on then. Do your worst. Saare. So this has been the rear base from which the US Marines have been deploying their reinforcements into Estonia all alone. Time to cut off the last head of the Hydra. Our scouts have identified the first enemy strongpoints around that large mall. Start your attack in this direction, Commander. Meanwhile, I will launch my assault from the left and flank them. We meet at the airbase. Give me the fault. Excellent work, Commander. You've secured a foothold in a city. Continue your offensive across the swamps. Secure the second half of the city. We'll stage the final assault on the airbase from there. The enemy will throw everything they have to stop your advance, and they have plenty of helicopters available, so make sure to bring along some anti-air units. Cruise missiles incoming from the American ships. Make sure you have short-out coverage to intercept them, and stay on the move to avoid becoming a juicy target. The Americans are landing reserve forces on the shore. Prepare for counterattacks. Excellent. The entire city is under our control. There is a large concentration of enemy tanks defending the airfield. Let's strike simultaneously from both directions to force them to expose their side armor. The airbase is ours. The last remaining enemy forces are retreating toward their ships. Don't give them a chance to re-embark. The ships are leaving! Don't let them escape! I'm transferring all our anti-ship missile platforms to your control, Commander. Iskander, scum of helicopters, Tupolev bombers! Throw everything we've got at them! Sink those ships!
Belay that order, Commander!
What? Why would we do that?
This is part of an agreement we are currently negotiating with the Americans. We're letting their ships leave in exchange for concessions.
This is just a trick! The moment the ships are out of the range, they will go back on their promises. On the contrary, destroying their fleet would strengthen our position.
Your opinion on the matter wasn't requested, Colonel. The order comes from above, so do your duty and stand down.
Well, you know what? I doubt that. It's pretty clear you've had your own agenda for quite a while to pursue your pitiful vengeance against me. I rather think that you're trying to trick me into failure and use me as your scapegoat. Destroy those ships, Commander!
Don't do that, Commander. Following this order would be treason. Don't help this impostor jeopardize our negotiating advantage.
One ship destroyed, one more to go. Glad to see you're siding with me, Commander. The past is the past, and winning this war is more important than any... Second ship destroyed. Great job, Commander! So, how exactly are the Americans going to negotiate now, without their fleet to intimidate us, huh?
After less than a month of conflict, this war that doesn't want to be called a war has already taken a heavy toll on its belligerents. In Moscow, as in Washington, and throughout all of Europe, demonstrations for peace are being organized, bringing together hundreds of thousands of people. Special Diplomatic Envoy Miller, mandated by Washington to find a way out of this conflict, spoke today after talks in Saudi Arabia with his Russian counterparts. Let's hear him speak.
First of all, I'd like to thank my Russian counterparts for their cooperation during the negotiations. We have succeeded in agreeing on an immediate ceasefire, which will take effect tonight at midnight Moscow time. During this ceasefire, a status quo antebellum will be established. Russian troops in the Baltic states will withdraw behind the Russian and Belarusian borders, while American troops will do the same in the Kaliningrad Oblast. As a sign of appeasement, we also wanted to ensure that those responsible for this conflict would be brought to justice in their respective countries. General Bennett and his aide-de-camp, Lieutenant Colonel Williams, have already been relieved of their duties and are waiting trial by court-martial. On the Russian side, Colonel Demidov is expected to serve a prison sentence in an Arctic penal colony. We welcome the outcome of these negotiations and announce the progressive withdrawal of the majority of our troops from Europe, leaving the newly created European Army the task to ensure stability in the region, while our troops will be redeployed to the Pacific to meet the growing security threats in that part of the world.
The ships are escaping! Do something, Commander! Don't tell me you're siding with this manipulative bitch! Yes, I stole her father's memoirs, but that was more than 30 years ago! Life was tough back then. After the fall of the Soviet Union, the country was in chaos. We weren't eating our fill. I needed the money, and people needed heroes and glorious war stories. So everyone was happy with it, including the higher-ups who knew all along. They let it slide because it served a purpose.
The ships are out of range. Thank you for your trust, Commander. Now the world will know who Grigory Demidov really is. And he will pay for it, believe me.
After less than a month of conflict, this war that doesn't want to be called a war has already taken a heavy toll on its belligerents. Casualties number in the thousands, if not tens of thousands, provoking indignation among civilians who fail to understand the reason for the conflict. In Moscow, as in Washington and throughout all of Europe, demonstrations for peace are being organized, bringing together hundreds of thousands of people. Special diplomatic envoy Miller, mandated by Washington to find a way out of this conflict, spoke today after talks in Saudi Arabia with his Russian counterparts. Let's hear him speak.
In order to avoid a nuclear escalation between our two countries and to stop this appalling bloodbath as soon as possible, we succeeded in agreeing with our Russian counterparts, after bitter negotiations, to the establishment of a demarcation line on the Daugava River between what we will henceforth call the northern and southern Baltic states. It will be the responsibility of the newly formed European Army to enforce this line of demarcation, so American troops can redeploy to the Pacific to meet the growing security threats in this part of the world. As a sign of appeasement, we also wanted to ensure that those responsible for this conflict would be brought to justice in their respective countries. Namely, General Bennett, who has already been relieved of his duties and is awaiting trial by court-martial. Lieutenant Colonel Williams, who distinguished herself during this conflict, will act as interim chief of staff during this transition period. On the Russian side, the SVR agent Elena Morozova is expected to serve a prison sentence in an Arctic penal colony.
After less than a month of conflict, this war that doesn't want to be called a war has already taken a heavy toll on its belligerents. Casualties number in the thousands, if not tens of thousands, provoking indignation among civilians who fail to understand the reason for the conflict. In Moscow, as in Washington and throughout all of Europe, demonstrations for peace are being organized, bringing together hundreds of thousands of people. Special diplomatic envoy Miller, mandated by Washington to find a way out of this conflict, spoke today after talks in Saudi Arabia with his Russian counterparts. Let's hear him speak.
In order to avoid a nuclear escalation between our two countries, and to stop this appalling bloodbath as soon as possible, we succeeded in agreeing with our Russian counterparts, after bitter negotiations, to the establishment of a demarcation line on the Daugava River between what we will henceforth call the northern and southern Baltic states. It will be the responsibility of the newly formed European Army to enforce this line of demarcation, so American troops can redeploy to the Pacific to meet the growing security threats in this part of the world. As a sign of appeasement, we also wanted to ensure that those responsible for this conflict would be brought to justice in their respective countries. Namely, General Bennett, who has already been relieved of his duties and is awaiting trial by court-martial. Lieutenant Colonel Williams, who distinguished herself during this conflict, will act as interim chief of staff during this transition period. On the Russian side, Colonel Demidov is expected to serve a prison sentence in an Arctic penal colony.
After less than a month of conflict, this war that doesn't want to be called a war has already taken a heavy toll on its belligerents. In Moscow, as in Washington and throughout all of Europe, demonstrations for peace are being organized, bringing together hundreds of thousands of people. Special diplomatic envoy Miller, mandated by Washington to find a way out of this conflict, spoke today after talks in Saudi Arabia with his Russian counterparts. Let's hear him speak.
First of all, I'd like to thank my Russian counterparts for their cooperation during the negotiations. We have succeeded in agreeing on an immediate ceasefire, which will take effect tonight at midnight Moscow time. During this ceasefire, a status quo antebellum will be established. Russian troops in the Baltic states will withdraw behind the Russian and Belarusian borders, while American troops will do the same in the Kaliningrad Oblast. As a sign of appeasement, we also wanted to ensure that those responsible for this conflict would be brought to justice in their respective countries. General Bennett and his aide-de-camp, Lieutenant Colonel Williams, have already been relieved of their duties and are waiting trial by court-martial. On the Russian side, the SVR agent Elena Morozova is expected to serve a prison sentence in an Arctic penal colony. We welcome the outcome of these negotiations and announce the progressive withdrawal of the majority of our troops from Europe, leaving the newly created European Army the task to ensure stability in the region, while our troops will be redeployed to the Pacific to meet the growing security threats in that part of the world.